Hello, this is day two after the round three and four draft of the draft. I'm John Frazier,
Chandler.
and we're going to provide some analysis from what happened today. We're still scratching our heads at some of the stuff that's been going on. Um, some people still on the board. Karnak is still on the board. I know that you're probably going to say he's a name that you can probably get later on. Just because of his skill set, I would draft him pretty high. Um, I don't know. There's still a lot of people on the board.
Still a lot of god tier characters
Yes,
have not been touched or even murmured about.
yeah. Who's the biggest shock that you feel is still out there?
Nobody has even mentioned Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, it's disgusting. They should all be ashamed of themselves.
Like I said, for me, I would even say Weapon H. I know he's not a popular character, but you
love Weapon H.
You get the combination of Wolverine and the Hulk. You cover a lot.
Does anybody want that though?
On a team. Yes, you do. Uh, but anyway, we digress. Let's get into round three. Leading off round three, Luis goes with a god tier character. One of the ones that you were just complaining.
He does.
Dr. Manhattan, number one, day two. What do you think of that pick?
Is he Red Watchman? I mean, if you're looking at a guy, if you have a one-man wrecking crew who wants to take care of a situation, but he's very wishy-washy. Anytime he doesn't feel it anymore, he walks away. He doesn't just leave the team. He leaves dimensions. He leaves the earth. Like
he's the Stone Cold of comic book characters. I don't know what's going on and just walking away.
He is. And even especially now with DC stuff, he puts his hands into stuff that he shouldn't be messing with.
Or I guess the more contemporary CM Punk of the.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even that it's not necessarily contemporary anymore, but I know what you mean. But I think it's definitely a powerful character. You can't deny that, but I don't know that if he feels like it and decides he's going to help you, if he feels like that's like up to him that he wants to do, sure, but if he feels like it's a Wednesday and I don't think this is the right battle, he's just going to disappear on you.
I think Manhattan could have been taken later also.
Yeah.
Power wise, I do think that it's a steal at this round. I do agree with you that
there's a lot of risk. Like I said about Hulk, like it's risk reward. You have to decide if you think it's worth it. I think this is more risky than Hulk in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because Hulk at least is going to fight. He might end up punching you, but he's going to start fighting.
Hulk's not very bright. You just drop him wherever. And
Exactly. You get him a little angry. You shake him up. You get a can of.
Dr. Manhattan's always thinking like.
Why do I need to do this? What's in this for me? No one's ever cared about me. My girlfriend died. I don't want to be in this planet anymore. You don't want him. He's not a team player.
I would grade this as a B choice overall. Like I said, it's not terrible. You are taking your chances, however.
C plus.
C plus. All right, so we'll move on to the next pick. Jason with Captain America.
C. He is a roided up jock. Yes, I'll give it to you if you want to have a guy that's going to be, the heart of the team, that's going to push people out there or whatever, but
you need a team leader.
You do need a team leader. I think you have better choices than
Captain
Captain
Superman
America.
already also.
You already have Superman, who you already have that moral compass, that guy that's going to keep people on his shoulders, and is way more powerful than Captain America. I don't think, again, not saying Captain America is a terrible superhero, just saying that if you only have 8 picks and you already have a guy on your team, especially it doesn't seem to necessarily fit with what Jason already has. He already has Superman, he already has that voice, he already has that strong team leader, and like I said, Superman way more powerful than Captain America. I think for him, he didn't need this guy on his team, and I think, again, that's a little bit early for that type of character to be going in the 3rd round. I think that could have dropped, but again, I don't think he needs him on his team.
I think you could have probably let him drop a little bit further than here, because there's still like a lot of really good characters out there.
A lot.
I wouldn't give it a C like you did. I would probably give it a B minus, maybe a C plus. I think that again you need that leader. Superman can fill that slot
every day. I think if someone else picked it, my grade would be a little higher. But again, I just think for what Jason already has, I don't think he needs him on his team.
Gotcha. So Balmori followed up Captain America. With Sentry on his team.
This is a weird just beginning of the 3rd round. Just like back to back to back of just like head scratchers and like what is going on?
Well, the problem with Sentry is what if the Void shows up in his head?
Yeah. Again, risk reward. Like some people I mean maybe they are, maybe they've thought about these things and they're like, you know what, I think it's worth the risk. Again,
rolling the dice.
Not arguing about the power level, just saying that I also think that, again, this pick could have gone farther down. I don't think many people were scrambling in the third round for Sentry. I think that pick would have dropped.
Why not pick Hyperion? I mean, you get the same thing without the void.
Without the void.
I'm torn on what to grade this one at. Like, if you get Sentry without the void, I feel like it's a choice. If you get Sentry with the void, you get an F.
Yes.
So I guess we get a C on this one.
Yeah, I'd say C, maybe C plus, because again, that risk reward. If it does work out for you, it works out really well. But if it doesn't, you lost a character, you lost a pick.
Andrew followed it up with what I consider a steal in the third round, the 20th pick overall, Jean Grey.
I have concerns. There's some off the field concerns that you worry about with Jean Grey.
You're afraid of the Phoenix Force?
I think she's afraid of the Phoenix Force. I think so. You have that. I mean,
but now she's tied to, or Phoenix Force is tied to Echo. So.
Well, I mean, again, which Jean Grey are you getting? Because again, like half the time she's worried that it's gonna come out, and the other half the time it is out, and then again, you and your whole team are in danger because Phoenix doesn't care about what's going on with your battle right now. So I think again, team player, hard to say, and again, it depends on which version of Jean Grey you're getting.
At least she doesn't have Cyclops on the team with her.
Well, that's true.
At least yet.
That's true. But again, I think there is some risk reward there as well. I think with all three out of four of these picks, there's big risk reward. You would rather Andrew
take like Emma Frost at this juncture?
I think so. I think again, you don't have
as long as you know where she stands.
Right. If she's invested and she's willing, like she cares about herself. If it's a risk to her and her, business or whatever, like she's gonna fight. Might not stay on the team, might not come to the meetings afterwards, but she will fight and she will, do a good job of it.
Might not go to the bar with the.
No, I mean you're not gonna be hanging out with her on the weekends, but like she will show up if something of hers is at risk.
So. Which, by the way, Emma Frost has not been taken yet.
Yeah.
Will she be taken at all? I guess we will find out. Next pick, Steve Wood chose Wolverine.
Nice Wolverine, Incredible Hulk combo.
Yeah.
You got a lot of old school characters on there. You got a lot of people that definitely brand recognition on this team for sure.
He's got some powerhouses.
Absolutely. I mean, you got Wolverine, you got Hulk, you got some big names that Doctor Strange, a lot of big Marvel that, if you're a Marvel fan, you definitely wouldn't hate this team if there's a book coming out with these characters, like you'd be like, all right, this is a good team we have put together here. I think Wolverine, again, I would have thought Wolverine would have gone first in terms of those type of characters before X-23. I would have thought that would have been the first choice. Again, I don't think Wolverine necessarily second round. I still think that pick of Claws shouldn't have necessarily been in that second round. I think he is a popular character. It's hard to know about that one. I think third or fourth round isn't a bad spot for him. I think maybe he might have dropped to the fourth round. But again, definitely a guy who, as much as he says, is a loner and isn't a part of a team better. He always seems to be on a team, and again, he's gonna fight until he absolutely
and complaining about it.
And absolutely cannot stand anymore. Like he's gonna fight until the very last thing, and he's gonna absolutely be a powerhouse.
I think this is a solid pick. I would give it a B.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Following that up, Tyler tried to suck up to the commissioner, tried to curry favor with the commissioner. Chose the only Flash, the real Flash, the Flash, Wally West.
I mean, he's a Flash.
No, he's the Flash.
I think it's good to have a speedster on your team, especially in terms of the Flash, where a lot of them have, time travel, being able to move through building. Like there's a lot of other things added with that. If you really break down everything the Speed Force can do and connect to, I think it's good, especially when you know that you have at least one other person out there who also has a speedster. I think it's a solid pick.
If your team has to be split up into several locations at one time, he can be in all of them.
Now, granted, especially now with the current Wally West, you kind of have to worry about a little,
No, you don't.
Mental capacity. I think
that never happened.
I think you have that concern, but again, it's more minor. Definitely a team player. Definitely a guy. I mean, other than a bump,
filled the boots of
other than
Barry
a bump in the road
Allen
here.
After.
Other than a small bump in the road of a moral compass, he's pretty good. But again, speedsters are definitely something that I think that everybody should have on their team.
Wally West did not do that. Tom King did that, and that's why we don't talk about him.
Well, the pages say otherwise, but
not the credits page. So, anyway, Jake, I think reached in round 3. He went with Magneto in round 3.
Well, Steve's in trouble. Clearly.
Wolverine, yes, Wolverine's in trouble.
Yes. I mean, also, I think Magneto's a character where obviously the committee decided that there was enough heroics in there to, well, we're not going to say erase all the villainy, but he's a character that, I agree with that. I would say, over his entire comic career, he has been on the right side, or at least the enemy of my enemy is my friend, enough times that you could probably put him in that slew of characters. I agree. I don't think this is a 3rd round pick. I think you probably could have gotten him in like 5th, 6th round. Again, not terrible, definitely a powerful character. Especially we've seen some people that he could clearly utilize against this that have been picked. Kermit and Steve are in a little bit of an issue here.
2 ahead of him, Wolverine, yeah.
Yeah. And then, Kermit with X-23 on his team. Like, there are definitely some people already he can use this against.
You heard Steve Wood during the draft say he sounds like a villain to me when it was brought up that he drew the adamantium
out of Wolverine. Yeah, it's definitely not something you think a hero would do. But again, if he's a fair amount of heroics in there, again, like I said, I don't think a terrible choice, but I think a little bit too early.
I would give it a C. Like I said, it's not that he's not powerful or not good for it, but I think that I would have let him slide another round or 2 before picking. Kermit follows that up with his pick, and that was Supergirl. Your thoughts?
I think it's a solid choice. I think to me, that is a 6th round pick. I think for whatever reason, I think Supergirl and Superboy, either or, which depending on which John you're talking about. I think that they both, if you're talking about Connor or John, I think all 3 of those are good choices. I don't know that any of them necessarily are round 3 choices, but I think she's definitely somebody, especially on his team right now, I think it's somebody that he needed.
Yeah.
I think he could have gotten her a little bit later, a little bit, farther down the draft, but it's hard to argue because I think definitely if you're looking at who's on his team so far, I think he definitely needs a character like that.
It's not bad. You get a Superman type character, round 3.
I mean, right now he has pretty much ground level villains.
Pick 24.
Street level. He's with X-23 and Nightwing, so I think adding that, alien, ability of flight, all of her powers, definitely has gone toe-to-toe with her cousin at times,
Yeah, I don't think it's a terrible choice. I would probably give it a B-.
Yeah, I would say, again, the only thing I would say is he probably could have gotten her around 4 or 5.
Yeah.
But definitely not a bad choice on your team at all.
He's definitely sticking with his favorites.
Yeah.
So then we went into round 4. Kermit with his back-to-back pick. Tyler should have awakened once again to Peter Parker at this point. But Kermit went with Ultimate Spider-Man, Miles Morales.
I think it's a solid choice. I think again, you have a character with a lot of power, definitely a team player, good moral compass, all those things you want to have.
He's sticking a little much with like the street level though.
I agree. Like I said, if Supergirl had not been his last pick, I would have graded this a lot lower because Supergirl evens out his team a little bit, but this pick does kind of bring him back down again to where like, okay, like you have some people that are, some good characters, some good teammates, but you need to have some more powerhouses on your team. And Miles Morales is great, but he is definitely not, a Supergirl. Like he's not that type of powerhouse.
Yeah.
Definitely a solid team member. If Nightwing or X-23 were exchanged with somebody else, I would think this pick would be a little bit better, but I think at this point, especially with the advantage of having those back-to-back picks, he could have really double-dipped and gotten some Supergirl and somebody else, like, really powerful.
Spectre's still on the board.
Yeah, Wonder Woman, a lot of great choice, like, a lot of more...
Karnak still on the board.
Aquaman, a lot of powerful choices. Like a lot of things he could have evened out. A Speedster, some type of... something to even out his team a little bit more. There are some other teams that are really pulling away in terms of power
yes.
that he should be concerned about.
Jake, with a huge reach, I think, in round 4. One that I think was probably not on anybody else's board.
I think he probably could have gotten in the 8th or 7th round.
Went with Star in round number 4.
I think you have a little bit here again, which I think it's easier said than done. But, you have people that you like and you have people that are on your team. And definitely Star is not necessarily like a weakling or somebody that's going to, drag you down in terms of power or anything. But I think, again, like you said, just to have that in the fourth round, especially with you being at the top of the fourth round, I think at this point he probably needed somebody more powerful than that would have helped, again, even out his team a little bit more. And I think, like you said, I think the biggest thing is that it's a large reach. I think Star would have been available 6th, 7th, 8th round.
Yes. And then Tyler follows that up with the King of the Ocean, Mr. Aquaman himself, Arthur Curry.
I like this pick. I think it's good. I think
he covers 3/4 of the earth.
Yes, absolutely. And also, pretty much invulnerable. You have a lot of other things. Obviously a lot of people who don't know the character go on that's the guy that talks to fish. But obviously King of Atlantis, King of the Ocean, invulnerable skin, has also put his life on the line many times during a crisis-like event. Super powerful character. Has also gone toe-to-toe with Superman at times.
Really fun at SeaWorld.
Well, probably not. A little angry at SeaWorld. But I think that definitely helps Tyler's team out for sure. I think Tyler right now has a very good gambit of a lot of different types of powers, and all of them pretty well powered in any situation. People that you would pretty much want in any situation.
And then we follow that up with Steve, who chose Thor, the son of Asgard.
Again, Steve's rocking a classic Marvel team here again, where some of those older fans would be loving a book coming out like that. I mean, again, hard to argue with that pick. I think some people might have
powerhouse.
thought. So I think that might be a little bit of a steal. I might say I think some people might have thought Thor would be a little bit higher up, 2nd or 3rd round, depending on who you ask. I think 4th round is probably.
I feel like his team's getting a little imbalanced though, like in terms of power level.
Yeah. I mean, I can definitely agree with that. He's definitely got a couple wild cards on there, and he's got a lot of ultra power, but it's all kind of the same of brute strength. I think Stephen Strange is good to have on there, but a lot of the other things right now are just punch him in the face, punch him in the face, punch him in the face, not necessarily like the big thinkers type of thing, and you can't put all of that on Stephen Strange's shoulders, or you're going to have some problems with the team.
And then Andrew, who I think is having one of the most balanced drafts out of everybody, picked Magik in the 4th round.
I think for me, I know that obviously this is a character that I think right now is a little more popular. I think, again, this pick probably could have gone a little bit lower. But like you said, I mean, it's hard to argue with any of his choices right now, like unless he picked something completely out of left field, very under, Aunt May or something like that you wouldn't need on your team at all. It's hard to argue with that. Like you said, I think Andrew's got a very well balanced, he's still, to me, looking at that number 1 spot where people want to be watching out for Andrew's team right now, I think is the team to beat. So I can't really argue with the pick. He's doing a good job keeping his team pretty balanced.
I think so. I think he put some thought into this and chose some ones that were probably off of some people's boards, and I like I said, Black Panther in the 1st round was a great choice.
Silver Surfer.
So we followed up Balmori again, trying to curry. This time, Balmori trying to curry favor with the commissioner, choosing White Lantern Kyle Rayner.
Again, I don't think this one necessarily is a bad pick. I think Kyle Rayner probably would have fallen a lot lower. So again, I think the thing for me with Balmori this whole draft is I don't think that all of them are bad choices. I think maybe 1 or 2 of them you didn't necessarily need on your team, but it's not that they're bad choices. It's that
Batman, I think he chose because he loves Batman.
Yes,
he was afraid somebody was going to take.
Yes, I get that. And again, you run that risk of you're worried someone's going to take the person you want. But if you're looking in terms of you don't know the threat, you don't know something like that. Again, if Batman is orchestrating as his team leader, Kyle Rayner is powerful. Probably could have gotten him, 6th, 7th round. It might not have been on somebody's board at all. You probably could have stolen that at the end. Right now, he's needing a little bit more, I think, in terms of
more depth on his team.
Yes, I think it's a lot of similarity, and you definitely had Dr. Fate. I think it's a good choice. Helps even out a little bit. I think Kyle Rayner does add to that, but again, I think he could have gotten him later. I think there are some better choices on the board that would have helped even out his team a bit more.
It definitely that helps him with his cosmic threats. I mean, Dr. Fate helps with that a little bit as well, but I think Kyle Rayner fits more that mold though. Jason, going with the street level character. Round 4, one I was shocked fell this far. One that I was shocked Tyler passed not once, not twice, not 3 times. 4 times Tyler passed.
4 times after Miles Morales was on the board,
Peter Parker Spider-Man, chosen in the 4th round by Jason.
Again, I think in terms of, I think to me this is a better pick than Captain America. I think this.
I think he should have chosen this one in round 3.
I agree. I think that should have taken his place for Captain America and left him open for something else that would have evened out and diversified his team, which again is still a very solid team. I think to me that's maybe the only weak link you could argue, because again it kind of is repetitive and less powerful than someone you already have. But I think Spider-Man's a solid choice. Like you said, I'm surprised it dropped this far too. I would have thought that would have been taken up, especially knowing the people in the draft. I would have thought it would have.
Tyler's favorite character. I'm gonna say it one more time.
I know.
1, 2, 3, 4 times.
Hearing another web slinger go, and then
the 35th pick overall, or sorry, 31st pick overall.
Steve Ditko rolls in his grave.
Chose a manga character. That's all I'll say. Whatever. Pick number 32, Luis, once again going for shock and awe. I think he made this pick. I made the comment during the draft. You weren't there to see it. I think he chose this pick so he could go back in time and fix his picks. Cable, chosen at number 32.
Yeah, I think he could have gotten this pick at any point in the draft, and I don't know that you ever would have needed this pick.
I think in a 64 picks draft, you pick him number 65.
Yeah, I agree. I think with the limited rounds you have and with 8 people, I think that Cable doesn't really belong up there. I think that there are a lot of more people that he could have gotten to fill that gap, and I think there's a lot of positions and types of characters that he still needs on his team desperately. I think this is a weird choice.
The question marks for Luis's picks continue. People are scratching their heads, wondering what went wrong, how you can have the first pick overall and go so far astray. Who knows? Who knows? Maybe he was drinking. We didn't do a breathalyzer test. Maybe we should have. Who do you think is the winner so far? Or let's do day 2 and then we'll do overall. Let's do who won day 2.
Day 2 for me, I would probably have to say, I think Tyler's up there with the Speedster and Aquaman. I think that's a pretty solid pick. I think for day 2 alone, I would still put Andrew in that discussion up there. I think that's definitely a solid pick up there. But for me, I think if you were just looking at day 2, I think Steve has good picks, but I think overall his team is becoming very one note and he's at risk. But I think for that day, for it to have Wolverine and Thor, I think are good choices to have on your team. But for me, I'd say probably Tyler would have the number 1 overall for day 2. He's got the number 1 spot for me.
So I would have Tyler at probably number 3. Steve, I have at number 2. I liked his picks on day 2. Overall, I think Andrew is pretty much hitting it out of the park. He's making very good choices at the rounds that he has, the choices that he has. Like I said, he just has a very well-rounded team. So I like his team so far. Who do you think had the worst day 2?
Well, Luis's day wasn't great, but it seems to be a common thread for that. But again, I mean, I think every draft you have a team that is a wild card themselves and grabs people that you wouldn't think, and sometimes they can do something with those characters. So he could surprise us, but I think that was probably the weakest for me. I would say, yeah. I mean, again, I think there's a couple that he's the only one for me that had 2 that I think shouldn't have necessarily been on there at all.
Yeah.
Or definitely a lot lower. Every other one I have towards the bottom, they have one pick that I think is pretty solid and the other one that I question, but he's probably down there at number 8 for me.
I would probably put Luis at the bottom again. Like the Cable choice boggles my mind.
Yeah, it's hard with that one to, again, I tried to look at it, but having Cable on there at all, which again we both agree probably shouldn't be anywhere in the draft, and then to have Dr. Manhattan, which again we're like, really, are you really thinking about every facet of it? You can't just go with cosmic power. You also have to go with, are they actually going to do anything with that power?
And for the other one, I think Jason could have gotten Peter Parker in the third round, I would have moved Peter Parker up a round and chosen somebody else with the fourth round pick, or even chosen somebody else in the third round and gotten Peter as a steal in the fourth round. Either way, I feel like the Captain America pick was kind of a wasted pick.
I agree.
But thank you for watching our day 2 analysis of rounds 3 and 4. Hopefully you join us for our draft analysis of round 5 and 6 in a couple of days. Thank you.